Greetings everyone. Well, still quite a few Blu-ray updates to get through, but I thought we'd take a little break from the Blu-ray updates and talk about some DVDs. Oh my god, he still buys DVD? Yes, I do. Well, certain things anyway, because there's certain types of things that just aren't available on Blu-ray yet, or they're just so ridiculously cheap on DVD I can't pass them up, or yeah, whatever. Anyway, today I thought we would talk about some bargain movie collections that I picked up. Actually, a lot of stuff from good old Mill Creek Entertainment, the fine purveyors of low-quality collections that we love. Yeah. Anyway, I picked up some pretty cool ones recently, and I thought we'd take a closer look at them today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Well, you've probably heard me mention Mill Creek Entertainment once or twice before, most notably when I did the video announcing that Cops, the animated series, Central Organization of Police Specialists Fighting Crime in a Future Time, yeah, anyway, is finally being completed on DVD courtesy of Mill Creek, sub-licensing it from Shout Factory. Well, Mill Creek has actually been around for quite a while, and how they kind of got their start was by putting together massive collections of public domain film prints of old obscure movies from, the 30s all the way through to the early 80s. And, I was looking at some of these collections recently and realized there's a lot of good stuff in some of these sets. I mean, granted, they're not the greatest quality, obviously, but they're dirt cheap, and you get a butt ton of movies in them for like next to nothing. So why not? I mean, if a bunch of them suck, who cares? There's bound to be a few good ones in there. And, well, from what I've seen so far, there's definitely some good ones in there. So I thought, what the heck, I'd pick up a few of them and see what kind of gold could be found in amongst all the coal. So over the years, they've done a whole bunch of these different collections. They've done 20 packs of movies, 50 packs of movies, 100 packs, 150, 250 packs of movies. So we're like, $30, you could get 250 movies. Yeah, well, I decided to dive in with one of their smaller collections because I saw it in the $5 bin at Walmart. So which one did I get? Spaghetti Westerns, a 20-movie pack, starring Lee Van Cleef. Yeah, I should mention, I love how they put Lee Van Cleef on the cover, and he's on all the disc art as well, but he's actually only in 4 of the 20 movies in this set. Lee Van Cleef, most of you will probably know from the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and of course For a Few Dollars More, where he played the he played like a bounty hunter in a Few Dollars More, and then he played Angel Eyes in Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Well, this is some of the other spaghetti westerns that he did, some stuff that you may not have heard of, and it's pretty cool stuff, actually. I mean, he's just like one of the original badasses. You really don't see badasses like, Lee Van Cleef and Jack Palance and Humphrey Bogart and all those guys anymore. You just don't see guys like that anymore. It's like real, genuine tough guys. And so it's great to be able to go back and see some of these obscure gems in here. There's one in particular that I saw on this set called Death Rides a Horse, which, if you're a big Kill Bill fan, you absolutely have to see Death Rides a Horse, because it is so obviously one of the major influences for Kill Bill. It's basically just a straight-ahead revenge story, good old-fashioned revenge plot. A little boy witnesses his entire family killed brutally by this marauding gang of outlaws, and then he gets rescued and then grows up wanting nothing more than to get revenge on this gang. So he becomes like this kick-ass gunslinger and basically starts hunting them down. But here's the thing that's cool about it. All throughout the movie, you'll see all these little things that point to Kill Bill as, being inspired by. And one of which being, for example, each one of the gang members had sort of an identifying mark that he noticed and remembered for his entire life when he was a little boy. And whenever he would encounter one of the gang members later in the movie, when he was an adult and hunting them down, he would see that identifying mark. The screen goes red, the camera zooms in on his eyes, you see like flashbacks to that fateful night 20 years earlier, and there's like this danger, danger music. Yeah, that sounds a little familiar, doesn't it? So anyway, the whole movie is filled with references like that, so it's obvious that Death Rides a Horse is a big favorite of Quentin Tarantino. Now, are these spaghetti westerns on par with, you know, the all-time greats like Sergio Leone's stuff? Not really. If you're expecting to get stuff of the caliber of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, you will be disappointed. But as far as being just good old-fashioned cheesy fun, with, you know, bad dubbing, because, you know, if you know anything about the spaghetti genre, they were all done in Italy, and half the actors were Italian, half of them were English. So the Italian-speaking actors would do their lines in Italian and then have them dubbed in English. And then even the English-speaking actors would often have their lines redubbed in English, and then the same thing would be done for Italy, with everybody being dubbed into Italian. So it's kind of funny, because some of the characters, their lips match, some of them don't. Yeah, so anyway, if you don't mind that as being just kind of one of the staples of the spaghetti genre, to me it just adds to the cheese factor and the fun of it, then you're going to have a lot of fun with this. I mean, the thing I like about spaghetti westerns is they're a lot, I don't know, grittier and rougher than a lot of their American counterparts, you know. There's just some kind of edginess to spaghetti westerns that you just don't see in a lot of the American films. And I love them. I think it's great. So I've been having an absolute blast with this collection. I've watched about a quarter of them so far, and I can't wait to check out the rest. Now, my good buddy Skin Slip over on Stickam, who also has his own YouTube page, he's a big fan of stuff like this and just cult films in general. And we got to talking about these Mill Creek collections, and we basically both agreed that, you know, for all the roughness of the prints and the low quality and whatnot, there is something good to be said about these. Namely that a lot of the movies in these collections you simply will not see anywhere else. They will never get better releases. So this is literally the only way you can see a lot of these movies. So considering it was $5 for 20 movies, I'd say that's pretty good value. I mean, that's what, 25 cents a movie? Come on. So who cares if some of them suck? There's enough good ones in there to make it well worth it. I mean, for $5, if you find one good one in amongst 20, the only thing you've invested is time. But it's time spent watching good old-fashioned cheesy fun. So even the bad ones, I find, do have some redeeming qualities. So one of the things that Skinslip pointed out to me is that this is not the only spaghetti western collection that Mill Creek put out, because they also put out a 44 movie collection, which I also picked up. And yeah, he was showing me this one and said, yeah, you got to get this one if you like the 20-pack. But something interesting, and this is a nice little bit of marketing on the part of Mill Creek, a little bit sneaky. This one actually has 3 movies that aren't on this one. And this one obviously has, you know, 20-plus movies that aren't on this one. So get them both together, and, you know, you got a nice collection of spaghetti westerns. Now, how much did this one cost? This one has 44 movies, $12.99. Not too shabby. Now you want to take a look at the packaging. Mill Creek is notorious for their cheap packaging. You want to know how they do things so cheap? Well, looks pretty nice, you know, nice cover, looks good on the shelf. You open it up. Oh, look at that, big stack of paper sleeves. Yeah, now that's quality. So, yeah. But, I mean, the nice thing is that they do have individual artwork on the discs, so that's quite nice. But they're all just in paper sleeves. Now, at first you might be thinking, oh, how cheap-ass of them. And, yeah, it is definitely cheap. I mean, why not just have disc trays or whatever? I know Planet Beer Wagon actually collects some of these sets, not the movie sets, but some of the TV show sets that they put out. And he has, there's a guy he buys empty cases from. He'll actually get the same size case but with disc trays inside, so he can have them in proper trays. But here's the cool thing about the way these sets are done, and this is something you could not do if they were trays. Observe. Undamaged. So that's something I definitely got to give props to Mill Creek for, and thanks to Stout for suggesting I do that. So let's take a look at the big spaghetti western set. Check this out. So unfortunately you got double-sided discs, but they're double-sided single layer, which is very odd to me. Why didn't they just do all single-sided dual layer? Then they could put some artwork on them. So you do have to be a little bit careful. But look at that frickin' stack of discs in there. That's crazy. This is 11 discs. But one thing that's kind of nice is each one of these 50 packs actually comes with a booklet. And the booklet has all the movies listed alphabetically in the back, so you can get with the glare there, and tells you the corresponding disc that they're on. And then also gives you detailed synopses of each movie, including the year, the primary stars, and get a little summary about the plot and whether or not it's color, black and white, and what the rating is. Most of these are unrated because a lot of them have never really been released over here in any other form. Some of them had limited theatrical releases back in the day, but most of them, you know, basically just played in sort of little Saturday matinee houses and whatnot. So that's pretty nice, you know, looks cool on the shelf and stuff like that. So spaghetti westerns, very cool. So what else did I get? Oh, that's not it. No, I found a whole bunch of these Mill Creek sets, and I thought I've just fallen in love with them because it's a great way to see a lot of these obscure movies from genres that I've always enjoyed, but really didn't realize just how many movies there were a part of, those genres. So you know that I've been a huge fan of, you know, the old Ray Harryhausen movies like Jason and the Argonauts and the Sinbad movies and stuff like that. And there's a lot of sort of low budget movies that fall into the same genre. Now when I was a kid, I saw a lot of the old Hercules movies. It was mostly the Hercules movies from like the late 70s, early 80s, you know, with Lou Ferrigno and stuff like that. I didn't realize that there was actually a whole subgenre of those that came out that started in the late 50s and ran through to the mid 60s. They call it sword and sandal, or peplum, which I can't remember the origin of that. It kind of sounds like pablum, but it's not. It's called peplum, but I refer to it mainly as sword and sandal. So anyway, Mill Creek put out another collection, this time of 50 movies, called Warriors. And this is all stuff from the sword and sandal genre. Now, just like the spaghetti westerns, these are basically spaghetti sword and sandal movies. And this is actually the direct predecessor of the spaghetti western genre, because when the peplum movies started to lose popularity, they started doing westerns. So, starts here, continues here. And there you go. The Italian movie. And then I think from the end of the spaghetti western genre right through till the early 90s, it was primarily horror and giallo. So that's kind of the history of Italian cinema in a nutshell. Anyway, the peplum genre ran from the late 50s to the mid 60s. And again, you've got a whole stack of, yeah, great, a whole stack of movies. This one is actually 13 discs. And same thing again, you have this nice booklet that has all the movies listed alphabetically in the back with what discs they go on and stuff like that. So these essentially you have adventures of Hercules and a lot of Hercules-like characters. You got characters like Ursus and Makiste. Makiste was a very popular Hercules type of character from this era. I've watched a fair number of the Makiste ones. I've been enjoying those a lot. You have Samson, Goliath, and I forget, there's a whole bunch, Spartacus, various sort of generic gladiator characters. You got one here actually that has Orson Welles in it, which is the story of David and Goliath, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty sure I've seen that one when I was a kid. So I've been having a blast with these because I've always enjoyed this type of genre, but as I say, I didn't realize how many movies were actually a part of this genre. Now, if you're expecting, again, just like with the spaghetti westerns, if you're expecting something on the level of Sergio Leone, don't, because that's not what you're going to get. This is like the low budget end of the genre. Similarly, if you're expecting to go into here and see all these beautiful stop motion animated battle sequences and just spectacular special effects, yeah, no. Some of them I think have some stuff like that, but most of them, the vicious, horrifying monsters that they encounter are just guys in really cheesy costumes. Like there's one where I think it was Ursus who has to fight this horrible beast that lives in an underground cavern, and it's a guy in a gorilla suit. Yeah, scary stuff. He just beats the shit out of that guy in the gorilla suit, man. He didn't stand a chance. But anyway, yeah, so if you like the sword and sandal genre, then this is definitely a worthwhile purchase simply for the price of it. I mean, it's $12.99 for 50 movies. So again, you're looking at what, about a quarter per movie? I mean, that's a fantastic deal. So yeah, so I've been enjoying this one a lot. Again, I've watched about 4 or 5 of them so far, and just having a blast. The prints are horrible quality. I mean, one of the Ursus movies I watched There was so much film damage and splices at the beginning, like the first 5 minutes of the movie, that half the dialogue was lost because they just kept chopping it out. I should mention something also about this spaghetti western collection is Mill Creek was kind of surprising with something. Like, for example, there's one called Beyond the Law, which has been in a lot of other public domain collections and even had some single disc releases from small companies. But usually it appears in a 90-minute cut down form. The version on here is actually the full 109-minute version, and it's in widescreen, which was very rare for a collection like this. Now, it's interesting to note that I mentioned the dubbing and whatnot. It seems that a lot of the English audio tracks were actually lost or perhaps never recorded for the additional footage, but it has been slotted back in. And anybody who's seen Anchor Bay's release or Blue Underground's release of Dario Argento's Deep Red from a while back will be not unfamiliar with this. The scenes where the English audio doesn't exist, they just use the Italian audio track and have English subtitles. So even though it is kind of weird for them to be suddenly talking in Italian after talking English through 90% of the movie, it's nice in that at least you get the full story. So that's pretty cool. So I've been enjoying that one a lot. And a couple of other ones I watched Death Rides a Horse and The Grand Duel. That's another great Lee Van Cleef one that I recommend. And you got one called White Comanche on here, which features William Shatner as the son of a like an Apache Indian and a white woman or something like that. So just the idea of seeing William Shatner in a spaghetti western, I mean, that's worth the price of admission alone right there, okay? So I do have a couple of other Mill Creek collections that I picked up recently, but I think we'll save those for another video. Yeah, so in the meantime, having an absolute blast with these ones. So we got 2 collections of spaghetti westerns, 1 collection of sword and sandal peplum adventures. Yeah, so if you like low-budget, cheesy spaghetti cinema like I do, you can't go wrong with these Mill Creek sets. They really are a tremendous value. And the way I look at it is, I mean, some of these movies do have better editions that have come out since, like actual studio ones or foreign releases. But the way I look at it is, for the amount that this collection cost, it just makes for a great primer for me to sort of get my feet wet in these genres and check out some of the stuff. And the ones that I like, I can hunt around, see if I can find better quality releases of them later. But in the meantime, at least I can enjoy the movies. So yeah, this goes out to all those of you who think I'm only all about high definition and pristine transfers and such. I'm really not. I mean, I get some comments on some of my Blu-ray videos where people talk about, oh, you know, people are missing the point of the movie. It's not about how good the quality is, it's just about the movie. It's like, yeah, of course it's just about the movie. But I mean, if I have the option to watch it in higher quality, I will. Or in the case of stuff like this, if I have the option to explore a genre that I haven't had a lot of experience with, but I've always been interested in checking out more of, this is a great way to do it because it doesn't cost very much. I can check out a lot of movies at a minimum cost, and yeah, and what I like I can track down higher quality versions of later. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that. So go Mill Creek. There's a few more Mill Creek sets I want to pick up. Like there's a few horror collections with some obscure horror movies in them. They've got a lot of cult cinema ones as well, some drive-in classics and things like that. Some sci-fi collections and stuff like that. So I'll probably be picking up a bunch of other ones from that set at some point. But for now, I mean, I've got like 100 movies there to keep me busy, so I think I'll be good for now. And I find they're great because, you know, they're not particularly deep in terms of plot or complexity a lot of the time. So I find they're great movies to just kind of put on while I'm doing other things. Like, for example, I've been working on the Multimedia Chronicles and HD Rants DVDs that you guys have been ordering. And I find that while doing the sort of tedious tasks of printing out covers and burning discs and such, it's been great to watch those movies while I've been doing that, because I can kind of go back and forth and, you know, pass the time quite nicely with those. Alrighty, well that's it from me to you for now, so until next time, thanks for watching, and sayonara.